thank you so much for coming to our breakout session, The Experience Economy. My name is Dylan Craddock, and I'm the Program Manager of Creative Economy, and I've been working on this for a very long time, so it has been really nice to see it come to life. And I'm going to get off the stage because I have no interest in being up here and introduce you to Brian Corrigan instead, who will be your moderator today. Thank you.
Big round of applause for Dylan. Awesome. All right, well, to start off here, who loves fun? Raise your hands. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let's start over. Who here loves fun? Okay. One more time. Who here loves fun? Yes. Okay. Me too. So let's click here. You clicking?
Oh no.
Aha. There we go. This is our sun god right here, and the sun god loves fun. So, we're here to talk about the experience economy. So, kind of raise a hands. Who here likes to buy experiences over things and stuff? Yes, a lot of you. Okay, I think we're at 74 to 78%. That is the number of Americans who prefer buying experiences over things and stuff. Who likes money? Wait a second. Who likes money? Yes, okay. Well, guess what? The experience economy by 2030 is predicted to be at $8 trillion. Does that sound like a market opportunity? Wait a second. Does that sound like a market opportunity? Yes, okay. Awesome. It is. There's also 52 million Americans suffering from loneliness. This was from Gallup in 2024. That's also a market opportunity, right? To think about how do we build market-driven approaches to belonging and inclusion. So, we might think that the experience economy is this new term. It actually was really kind of starting to come to be in 1999 by an author named Joe Pine. So Joe Pine is really kind of, I think, the guru of the experience economy. But it wasn't just Joe Pine. Rolf Jensen actually started writing The Dream Society, which was very aligned also with the experience economy back in 1999, so this isn't necessarily anything new. Who remembers the Rainforest Cafe? Yeah, right? I know. So this is all like kind of just old stuff becoming new again. So let me go ahead and kind of walk you down my path as an artist entrepreneur working in the experience economy. So we'll start with just one of my projects.
Oh Heck Yeah is the first of its kind immersive street arcade. Each game was created with everyone in mind, encouraging both positive interactions and reimagining the way we play in the city. With its premiere event this summer, Oh Heck Yeah transformed 3 blocks of downtown Denver for 8 weeks and created a destination for both the young and the young at heart.
Oh Heck Yeah is a creative placemaking project that uses art and culture to transform cities. Our goal of Oh Heck Yeah is to use the power of play to connect people on the street. Connecting people on the street is important because when you connect people, you make the streets safer and you also make the city more resilient.
Each game was custom built by the Oh Heck Yeah team and ranges from collaborative to competitive. The games are based on familiar concepts that require very little instruction and are controlled by simply moving your body. We tapped into the local creative community by bringing together musicians, improv artists, and entertainers of all kinds to activate the street in unique ways. We cultivated cross-sector partnerships that included everyone from retail owners in the immediate area to corporate backers, volunteers, and students.
At the Theater District, we're firm believers that bringing art to the street is a great way to get exposure for mediums that sometimes get to be seen by a lot of people. So when Brian came to us and said he wants to bring video game artists and he wants to bring art and other things to the streets, we said that's great, and we'll help set it up, we'll help bring the crowds. It really fit perfectly.
When you're able to connect people in a city and create these spontaneous interactions, you find ways to grow your community, to grow your business, and grow your relationships in ways that you wouldn't be able to otherwise.
In the first 2 months, more than 40,000 people played together on the street, attracting both local and national press. On the surface, it may seem like a simple idea, but oh heck yeah is the result of a carefully coordinated effort. We have demonstrated that the power of play strengthens the fabric of a city by bringing people together in new and unexpected ways.
So the number one takeaway from that video is I have much better hair now. Right? Let's cheer for good hair, right? Yes, good, yes. So when I made that project, I had no idea that I was really acting as an artist entrepreneur. And I was thinking, oh, this project will just be super cool. And by the time it was done, I was so burnt out that I didn't even want to think about doing it again. But I had tons of people emailing me saying, hey, I want to bring this to my city. I want to rent this. I want to do this. And I was like, okay, I'll get back to you in a month. I'm going to go on vacation. We'll talk later. And that was the beginning of my really journey as the artist entrepreneur. And I wish that I would have known what I know now. And it's really kind of this idea of thinking about how do we, again, create these experiences that can go ahead and connect people of different backgrounds in market-driven ways, and how do we start to eliminate the idea of the starving artist identity and transform it into the thriving artist? Who's with me on that one, right? Yes. So anyway, lots of years have gone by, I think 11 years since that very first Oh Heck Yeah on the streets of Denver. And here are just a couple of our installations that we have produced since then. We have licensed our software to the Colorado Rockies. Never did I ever think that I'd work with a professional sports team, but I picked baseball because I figured, you know what? Our games are probably way more fun than the game happening out on the field. Easy competition, right? That second one in the middle there, that is our latest installation. That's in Ryder Square in downtown Denver. This one has a sun theme and really kind of pays tribute to, again, our love of the sun as Coloradans. And then over on, I guess the very far end over there, that is our installation at Meow Wolf. And we also just in the last 6 months have expanded into Tennessee with Ripley's Believe It or Not, if you can believe it or not. And I'm happy to report that we have over 500,000 people who have played our games in just 6 months of being there. So super exciting. Thank you, thank you. And so with that, we are going to talk about the intersection of the artist, our entrepreneur, and the experience economy with my lovely panelists here. So let's give a big round of applause for them. And it's going to be kind of like a talk show. So welcome to my talk show. I'm so glad you guys could make it today. Emily, why don't we go ahead and start with you, and we'll go down the line and just introduce yourselves. How's that?
I had a feeling you'd start with me.
Yeah, you're the closest to me. Yes, I know.
If my husband is sick today, he would have been in this chair. So anyway, my name's Emily Ross, and my husband Clay Ross and I own Yobel and the Lookup Gallery in downtown Colorado Springs.
Woo. And tell us, how did you get into that?
Oh, goodness. Well, besides being a top customer of Yobel since about 2008, being really good friends with the co-founders, Sarah, Ray, and Donovan Kennedy, Sarah texted Clay and I on our honeymoon in 2017 and said, there's just something about you guys in Yobel. I don't know yet, but when you get back, have a good honeymoon. We'll talk later. Really, the drive for any of my interest in Yobel is the sustainable and fair trade fashion. So I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to go to Parsons School of Design. Grew up here, I'm a townie, so is my husband. But then, you know, $80,000 tuition a year or something, you know, kind of steered me away. And but when I was in high school, I figured out that ugly side of fashion, and I was really bummed about sweatshops, about, you know, then the environment conversation wasn't really happening as large as it is right now. But anyway, I thought, okay, I'm 16, I'll just get really, really rich and buy all the sweatshops and make them better.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my solution. And then, you know, kind of through that, I started to just do a lot of research on my own, find out where things are coming from, who's making them. Tom's was one of the first companies that really kind of connected those to me. I was like, see, you can make profit not on the backs of someone, not by exploiting someone. You can have a really cool product and it's not a handout, things like that. So from there, things kind of grew. I made a lot of my own clothes, designed my own clothes. And then 2019, my husband and I ended up buying Yobel from Sarah Ray at the time.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Yay! And who do we have with us next?
My name is Shakana Tedder. I'm with the City of Colorado Springs Economic Development Department. So as a small business development administrator, my job and my goal is to make it easy to do business in Colorado Springs. That's the boiled down answer. How can we help? How can we support the business owners, the people that make the city the great place that we love, the people that support that? That's my goal.
So you're the easy button?
I love that. I
I
love
can
that.
attest to that. I email her a lot.
That's a goal.
I love it. Well, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Becky Fuller, and I'm a senior credit analyst at Colorado Enterprise Fund. We are a nonprofit lender. We're CDFI, which is a community development financial institution. Big breath. Anyway, we lend in the underdog space, so we kind of people that are almost bankable but not quite. That's kind of our target market. We do loans from $10,000 up to $1 million. Our max is usually about $350,000. We do microloans. We'll do startups. We about 7% of our loans last year, or in the past 3 years, were in the arts and education, and we put $500,000 into El Paso County in loans and created 100 jobs.
Awesome. And everyone heard that? That's one of the money people up here, right? We all just
I'm
have
a
to
scary underwriter. I'm not the easy button. Sorry.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and start with you, Emily. Can you just tell us a little bit about your operating model?
Yeah, we are actually pretty much at the heart of the experience economy. We have been for many years, but now even more so in our newest location that reopened to about 2 months ago, downtown behind Kawadi. We kind of expanded some of that. I don't want to get into the other answers of the questions, but we faced a lot, as many have, but we were displaced during COVID, and then we lost everything to a fire December of 2023. So we did not want to be professional pivoters, but it's kind of what we ended up having to be, and just kind of take things as they came and figure stuff out, you know, to continue our passion working for people and with people. So we have a few different revenue streams now in our new space. Yobel is the crown jewel. It's our fair trade, ethical fashion, and sustainable fashion, so it's people and planet. And then we added a bar so we can legally sell you a glass of wine or beer while you shop. Or my
Sounds very fun,
yes, my brother-in-law's distillery, Accent Oak, we have as well. And then kind of throughout the space, besides just all the incredible pieces we do have to sell that are works of art, we actually represent over 25 local artists through a member gallery and also 7 artist studios that we rent out. So it's just right away, you walk in and the space that we ended up landing in is just incredible. So right away though, the space that was built in 1916 for the trolleys already kind of brings in some awe or curiosity about the area. And then we get to share over 60 stories from artisans on our Yobel side, and then over 25 stories of artists that are local and creating incredible works. You can also, lots of times the artists are there in their studios too, so you get to peek into their windows and watch them create. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how does the city support the artist entrepreneur working in the experience economy?
That's a good question. So I think the first thing is we are public servants, so our job is to be a support, to be as transparent as possible, to be approachable. I think that's the biggest thing. So I feel like as creatives, you have a thing that you're really, really good at. You create, you have your products, your services that you want to share with the world, and maybe you don't have all the answers for what permit do I need to do such and such, or all of those things. And so I think the city's point, or the city's connector, can be, we're there to help with that portion of the thing that's required to be a successful business, but we're here to help alongside of you with that thing that you do really well. How can we partner with that great work and help you to make it, again, easy button, I like that. But how can we make it easier? How can you connect with someone, a person, answer the phone and say, hey, I have a question about this, or I need to get in contact with this, or I found a location that I think I'd love. How do I? That's where the city steps in, and we're able to help connect you to the right partners, the right departments, or get you to the answers that you really need.
Awesome, thank you. Becky, how about you go ahead and kind of chat with us about how Colorado Enterprise Fund interfaces with the artist entrepreneur?
So Colorado Enterprise Fund, the way that this is such a weird experience because like I can't really see you, and so really our space is in the lending business. So we can support, growth of certain ways. I would say that what we do from a CEF standpoint is like we have a great appreciation for the entrepreneurial drive. It's really hard, and so I've seen thousands of financial statements. During COVID, we processed all of the El Paso County grants, the COVID grants. So I had this great experience of seeing, financial statements and tax returns of thousands of businesses in El Paso County. And it's a struggle. And there's all these things that you don't know, and there's shame built around money where you don't want to ask anyone, or you don't want to say, my credit might be challenged. I'm a big believer in, I want to live in a community where the only barrier to access to capital is merit. And just because you don't qualify today doesn't mean that we can't help you build a plan to get there someday, but you shouldn't be really restricted by, my brother-in-law doesn't work at the bank, I don't understand how a credit decision is made. I'm not quite there, because there's a lot of resources in Colorado Springs to help you be successful. So I spend a lot of time, I'm an underwriter, so I'm the one that is that person behind the scenes normally that you don't see, that's like this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. But I think I'm off track a little bit. I'm kind of an ask me anything kind of person, because I think I could speak for hours and be very interesting to myself and not answer the questions that you want. And really I want to demystify what happens in this whole process, because there's really nothing that's off limits. There's nothing really that secretive about lending. It's if you asked me if I would lend you $10,000, if I asked you for $10,000, what kinds of things would you ask me?
How are you planning to pay me back?
That's it, yeah, that's that. That is the fundamental question we're always answering.
Awesome. Well, it also sounds like you're a partner in helping us transform the identity of the starving artist into the thriving artist.
I want everyone to succeed.
Yes, awesome, awesome. That's great. So, Emily, I kind of chatted a little bit about my journey and, kind of thinking back on, I wish I would have known that. Do you have any kind of advice or tidbits, wisdom?
This question is great. I don't tend to ever think regretfully.
Yeah.
I ended up in a 16-year HR career, even though I still wanted to do everything fashion and fair trade and all the things. It was still a huge passion of mine. So things do not always go the way you think they will. Even the good stuff too, though. That's not always a bad thing. Even our current location that we landed in after looking at 23 spaces in 2024 to try and reopen every single day, every week after the fire. But I think just really remembering to create, just always be willing to learn and create that group of people around you that you can listen to, bounce things off of, some who've gone before you in your similar endeavors, and some who haven't gotten there yet. just to be very teachable and humble, and just know you haven't ever arrived and that things won't always go as you think they will. Also, I think just being on a little bit more of the funding side, just being super smart and not overextending yourselves. We got a second chance to kind of restart again, and even just in 5 years, we were grateful to have learned some things when we started this new location compared to buying a smaller business in 2019. So I think community is huge. We are friends with all of our current small business owners. The first person you think might be your competition will probably be your biggest cheerleader, and that's how we love to live our lives too. And play tour guide for the small businesses that we have in Colorado Springs, especially downtown. We're not anchored by a huge chain, whether it's restaurant or retail. So it's really, really special to just be involved in your local community and link arms.
Yeah, I think sometimes we always think bigger is better, right? But bigger isn't always better, smaller isn't always easier, right? I would tell myself that every morning when I wake up, right? Yeah. How about any wisdom from our other panelists you'd like to share?
I just wanted to add, I love the fact that you mentioned community. Some feedback that I get as I interact with small businesses throughout the city, I get to do things called small business walks, where I'm out in the community speaking to small businesses one-on-one. How's your experience? What is it like being a business owner in Colorado Springs? And a very consistent piece of feedback that I get is the community around Colorado Springs is very supportive. And I think that's a kudos to the people in this room, the community that we have. We do a really great job of supporting each other. So like you mentioned, but community is built. You have to want to be a part of it. And so sometimes I feel like small business owners think you have to be on an island on your own and you have to figure it out on your own. But exactly to your point, I can definitely agree that there's a community out there that's waiting for you, that would love to interact with you, to help support you grow. So lean into that, embrace that. I think that's really impactful for small businesses.
Well, and I think what you're touching on there too is I talk a lot about this idea of cooperative advantage instead of competitive advantage. And funny enough, I went to business school, which it makes me laugh. I always say I either got A's or D's, so but I'm extreme. But like this idea in business school, they teach you really about competitive advantage, right? And it's like, well, who really is our competition, right? And I love reframing it into this idea of cooperative advantage, of like, what can we do together that we can't do by ourselves? And one other kind of thing that I'm picking up from the conversation too is that you can kind of interchange the words community with customer, right? Yes, to build customers, we build community. Yeah.
And that's huge for this experience economy, that someone leaves having felt something. A good friend of ours, Jonathan Liebert, will talk a lot about how people are value driven more so now with consumerism, rather than just a thing that I got, on sale. So it's this experience and that sense of community. You were talking about loneliness too.
Yeah.
And that if someone walks into our space, we welcome them, we tell them to walk all around, let us know if you have questions, want to see the bar menu, and there's kind of a sense of relief in a sense, not that I'm just this salesperson gonna try and get the biggest sale out of them today, like I used to in the chain retail stores I worked in over the years, but that they leave with a sense of belonging, that they're welcome back anytime, that they can come join us again. So I think all of that's just super important, and we could use 50 more retail spaces downtown too, like tomorrow. That actually creates more experience. People will stick around longer,
Cooperative advantage.
Cooperative advantage, yeah, it's so great. The more that people can kind of hang out, the longer they feel welcome and will come back.
Yeah, well, and I think it's worth noting when you think about the idea of the experience economy, it's time well invested. That is what, time well spent. Time well spent, that is really kind of like the marker of value. And then there's a kind of a subset of the experience economy, which is now being called the transformation economy. And that is time well invested. And just a little definition of the transformation economy is really kind of thinking about that today, we're wanting to become, better, right? And we think about just the proliferation of like coaching that's available for us to, as this conference, level up, right? And so really, I think those kind of two markers of time well spent and time well invested are good ways to really kind of think about the experience economy and if you're delivering really that value to your customers. So Becky, let's go ahead and kind of chat about like, an entrepreneur has an idea, right? And they, need some resources. Can you kind of walk us through how should they approach you, or what's that timeline look like?
Sure. From a lending standpoint, what we look at, we have people that will come in that we would call them not loan ready. So we see a lot of startups. If you are a startup business, you really kind of need to have some sort of a plan. What are you planning to do? If you think you want to borrow money, what do you plan to use that money for? We're always looking at sources and uses, so it's we want to see a borrower that has some skin in the game, and I guess I'll let you in on kind of the not so secret. Every lender looks for the exact same thing in a loan application and making a credit decision. The difference is how big is their credit box. So some of the big banks, their credit box will be like this big. When you get to Colorado Enterprise Fund, it's a lot bigger. But we all fundamentally are looking for the same thing. Do you have money into the deal? How am I going to get paid back? We're looking at, does the deal overall make sense? This will sound strange coming from someone that's in the loan business, but if you don't need to borrow money, don't. You're creating one more need to fill with your business. So if you borrow money from me, then there's like this extra piece where you have to figure out how am I going to pay that loan. I would say the other thing that we see, I guess we're always looking. I don't want to overstate everything. It's kind of, I don't know where you guys all start from, so I'm kind of in a weird spot here. Collateral is always an important thing that lenders are looking for, but for small amounts of money, people that own their own homes that already have a job, home equity lines are great sources of financing. It's really easy to get. You can apply this afternoon and have it closed by the end of the week, and you don't even have to explain to me how you're going to use the money. So there's this process that goes through on the commercial side, and it's, on the consumer side, they're looking at pay stubs, they're looking at appraisals, they're looking at FICO scores, and it's kind of this little sausage machine, all comes through. It's kind of a robot is underwriting your loan. When you get on the commercial side, it's like your boutique looks different than a restaurant, looks different than a car dealership, and so you have people that look at each one and they're assessing them independently, and those are just like a lot more expensive products to deliver, and that's why you'll see on the commercial side that it's just more expensive.